Good morning. This is Caitlin from Bandy's Books. I'm here for reading sprints this morning. Very excited to be here. I worked really late at night last night. I was at work until midnight, so I am a little bit tired this morning. That is not normal in my routine, but we're preparing for these like corporate visits, and so I'm having to stay late on these like deep cleaning nights. So that was my first one last night. I'm a little like discombobulated, but I'm here. This morning we woke up and walked down the street. There's a coffee shop that we like. So I picked up a bourbon vanilla latte for the reading sprints, and I got myself a cherry cheese Danish to munch on during the sprints as well. I also have some books to finish up. So I have a couple different options. I am in the last like 20 pages of the Persians, so I'm probably going to finish this up first just so I can be done with it. I almost finished it last night, and then I was like, oh, just a little bit more to go. So maybe with one sprint, I'll be able to knock off the end of this. And then I think the main focus for today is going to be After Parties by Anthony Vyazna So. This is a short story collection. I started it a couple weeks ago, and I've just been reading it throughout the reading sprints on Thursdays. And so I'm about 63 pages in. I think this book is just a little over 200 pages. So I'm hoping to maybe finish this up today as well, as we are coming to the end of the month. And then if I get done with those two, I'm also working my way through Trinity. I am, 40 pages in. And I think this book is also just above 200 pages. This one's kind of a little weird so far in the beginning. It's very kind of like nightmarish. It has that like dreamlike quality where you're not really sure what's going on all the way. I feel like I just need like to focus and really like settle down into this book. But I have the most to go with this one. So I'm going to try and knock out these first. And if there's any space left after that, then I will continue on with Trinity. If not, I'll probably finish this over the next couple days anyways. All right. So let me type in a message. I see a couple people are popping in, so feel free to say hi. Let me know what you're reading this morning while I set up our away message for the sprints. Hopefully your week is going really well. Sorry, I know it's weird. I'm like staring at the screen. I'm just typing in this message really quick. Just let us know what you're reading. Okay. Good morning. I'm reading The God of the Woods. Oh, hey, I just finished that a week ago. It was a pretty good book. Not bad for a thriller. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, Nadim. Thank you for joining us this morning. So exciting to see everybody here. I'm so glad everybody's been able to jump in for these sprints. I was just saying at the start of the video that I worked till midnight last night. I'm having to like set up my store for this corporate visit that's happening mid-June. And so I have to be there after hours for a few hours each week to help with like deep cleaning the store and like getting it all set up. So I did my first one last night. So I was there till 12. Usually I'm out by like 9 or 10 at the latest. So I'm a little tired. My routine was a little bit messed up from that, but it's just a couple weeks of doing that and then back to normal. But we started the morning by getting up and walking Luna down the street to the coffee shop. I got myself a nice bourbon vanilla latte, have a cherry cheese Danish, and then I have my books. So I have a couple different things that I want to knock off today. So hopefully we can all make some progress. Let's see, Nadim. I'm currently reading The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. So that's the Throne of Glass series, right? How are you liking that series so far? I tried at one point to read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and it just really wasn't for me. It wasn't the right fit. But I've heard that the Throne of Glass series is a little bit different, a little more fantasy focused, a little less romance focused, if I remember correctly. But I've heard good things about it. Love to hear your thoughts. So I'm going to set up a timer for that first sprint, and then we can settle in and get some reading going. Oh, also, I was going to share Luna's here. She is knocked out by my feet at the moment. She's a happy girl because last night Oz took her on a hike up in the mountains, much cooler weather up there. And so they went for a hike with a whole group. It was like this hiking group we hike with. And there was a little kid there that was really excited about Luna. So he walked Luna a bunch and played with her, and she got lots of attention. And, it was a good, good several mile hike. So she's nice and tuckered out today. And then we took her for a good little walk up to the coffee shop this morning. So she should be pretty quiet. But if you do hear some noise in the background, Oz is actually home today. He had, as his job slows down a little bit for the summer, he has the ability to take off an extra day or two here and there. And so he took today off since I was also going to be off. And so he's home. And I've been like, hey, I'm going to be doing reading sprints. So just, but if you hear him, he's washing dishes and stuff right now and doing some things in the kitchen. So you may hear that in the background. All right. So let's get that 15-minute sprint going and let's see what kind of progress we can make on our days. If I can find my timer. My brain is a little mushy at the moment. All right. So we'll put up our OA message, and I have 15 minutes on the clock starting now. Oh, Luna. Excuse you. All right, there is the end of the first sprint. All right, how did we do? I made it almost the end, 34, or I'm at page 347. This book ends at page 367. So I think I'll be able to finish it in the next sprint. And then I will be done with Persians by Sanam Maluji. This is a book that actually got added to the Women's Prize long list, and I believe it was shortlisted as well. Not gonna lie, this one took a little while for me to get into. This is about a wealthy Persian family, half of them living in the States and half of them living in Iran. And it's kind of hard sometimes to feel empathy for the characters within the story, I think. There are moments where I feel a little more empathetic or appreciate some of the characters, but some of the characters are unlikable. And I think they're, intentionally so. They're meant to be unlikable and challenging. But I think now that I'm like more than halfway into the book and I kind of know who the characters are and what they're going through, I actually am starting to like get what the book is about and where it's going. But it did take a little bit of time to warm up to. So we'll see. I'm curious to see how this wraps up. I'm at a point where one of the main characters is on trial for something. And it's really interesting because she's possibly the most unlikable character in the entire book. And she's accused of something that she didn't really do exactly. Like some sarcasm and things that she said were like misinterpreted in a way to get her in trouble. Now she's in this court case and she's kind of like a firebrand. So it'll be interesting to see if she's like able to keep her words in check to get herself out of trouble, or if she like says what she feels and kind of like shoots herself in the foot. But so it's been interesting. I only read 5 pages. I got distracted by her cats and dog. I get it. Today, I don't think I'll have that much trouble. Luna's moved over to her bed. She's curled up over there. I think she's still a little tired from her hike yesterday. But yeah, normally, she wants to play and run around and everything. So I get that. Let me set up that next sprint so we can make a little bit more progress. And it seems to be the trend that like when I'm doing these sprints, usually like the first couple, it's a little bit quiet and we've been seeing more people trickle in around 10:30. So hopefully we'll have some more people joining in soon. Let me get our away message popped back up. All right, so I'm going to put 15 minutes back on the clock. My goal is to finish up the Persians on this sprint. I have 20 pages left. I think I can do it. Hopefully you guys have a successful sprint as well. So 15 minutes on the clock. I'll see you at the end. Did you eat your Danish boo? Okay, there's the end of the next sprint. I'm like a half a page from finishing, so I think I'm just going to read it really quick. Oh, just kidding. I lied. There's like 2 more pages. All right. Well, I'll hold that for the next sprint. So I literally am 2 pages from finishing the Persians. It's wrapping up in an interesting way. I think I can appreciate the book as a whole now that I know where it went. Excuse me. That 12 a.m. off work is kind of kicking in a little bit. Let's see. Finished a cup of coffee and read 12 pages. Awesome. I love that you always join for coffee too, because like I'm here with my coffee. It's kind of nice to like sit and read and drink coffee together. It's a great way to start the morning. So this next sprint, I'm going to finish my last 2 pages of Persians, and then I think I'm going to switch over to after parties and start working on some of my short stories. Anyone have anything exciting going on today? Any cool plans this afternoon? I'm off today, and like I mentioned, I also took an extra day off. So I think we might go down to the pool and barbecue in the afternoon. It's nice outside, not too hot yet. Like Vegas, in the summer gets insanely hot here. But right now it's like manageably hot. So I think we might do something like that. I need more coffee now. I read 10 pages. Awesome. Yeah, coffee. It's great. Like I said, I love that this is kind of turning into like the routine is like we all have coffees and read together and stuff. I think that's perfect. Perfect for a reading sprint. So let me set that last 15 minutes, or not that last 15 minutes, the next 15 minutes. And then I'm going to read those last 2 pages and switch over to after parties. Hopefully everybody will continue to make some progress. I see a few new people popping in, so please feel free to say hello. Let us know what you're reading. All right, 15 minutes on the timer. Luna. Luna. You're snoring, mamas? You're snoring. Yes, very loudly. Up you go. You have a seat. Can you have a seat? Come on, lay down.
Right, there is the end of that sprint. Oh, looks like we've had some more people join in. Where are we at? Good morning. I just joined and started my coffee while reading Second Olympus by K.A. Stewart. It's our book club pick. Hey, Cynthia, good morning. I'm not familiar with that book, so I'm going to have to look it up in a minute. Alan, hey, Caitlin. Raining up here. Looks sunny in SoCal. Ooh, I wish we were having some rainy weather. Here in Vegas, it's like actually getting pretty hot. It is very sunny. And I want to say today it's supposed to be up into like the mid to high 90s. So hopefully we've got another couple weeks before we start breaking 100. Rereading The Grapes of Wrath for the Summer of Steinbeck. Awesome. I read that. Gosh, it's been 20 years or so. I read it in high school. I can't say I've read a whole bunch of Steinbeck, though. For whatever reason, classics are just hard for me. Donna, hey, Caitlin and Luna. I'm reading The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I love it. I have not read The Message yet, but I just finished, is it Between the World and Me? I always mess up the title. I want to say Between You and Me, but I think it's Between the World and Me. And I read that last month. I really enjoyed it. And I've read his book, The Water Dancer, as well. Coates is such an interesting person. I got into his writing after seeing a video of him when he was writing for The Atlantic, and he was talking about the process of being a writer and how hard it is to get what you're thinking in your head onto paper. He was like, if you get like 50% of what's in your head onto paper, then that's like a success. And how it just like never sounds exactly the way that you want it to. And it was just really interesting because at the time I was trying to do some creative writing and things like that. And I was really struggling with that concept myself. I was always like, how does this always sound so good in my head? And then I get it on the paper and it's just never quite right. And so I just remember like listening to that video and feeling like, oh, wow, this is like this professional, fantastic writer who's, you know, prolific in books and in journalism and like talking about this same struggle that I felt like I was having. And I've just been a huge fan of his ever since. Nadim, read another 15 pages. Awesome. Love that everybody is making some progress today.
I got into after parties. I finished those last few pages on the Persians. Also, I have to say, this cover, I really love this cover design of this book. I feel like it really fits the story. So I finished the Persians. I got through about 12 pages in the after parties. So I'm going to be focusing pretty much on this for the rest of the reading sprints. My goal is to try to finish this up today. Since we are at the end of May, I really like to finish any outstanding books before the next month starts because I usually change my TBR theme each month. And so I like to kind of like have a fresh slate instead of dragging books over with me. So hopefully I will be able to get through this today. How many pages do I have left on here? 60. So there's 256 pages in this book. I'm at 73. So I guess I'd have to read almost 200 more pages during the reading sprints to get through that. I don't think that I'll probably finish quite that much in the reading sprints. But if I make good progress during the sprints, then I can probably finish the rest of it up later tonight before bed. So I will set another 15-minute timer. And thank you, everybody, for jumping in and saying hello. It's so exciting to see so many faces here. All right. So I've got our 15-minute timer on. I will see you guys in a bit.
Maybe it's time to get down. Mm-hmm. What do you think? You're snoring, Mother. You're snoring. You're snoring. Luna. Luna, Mama, you're snoring.
All right. There is the end of that sprint. All right, making good progress. I made it to page 85. So happy with that. Let's see. I'm trying to finish the message out before June, and I'm 68% through. Next, I'm reading A Right Worthy Woman by Ruth P. Watson. Awesome. Well, I think 68%. I remember the message not being like a massive book. It's one of the smaller ones that he published. So I think that that's pretty reasonable. I'm not familiar with A Right Worthy Woman, but I'm going to have to look it up now because I feel like every time I hear about a book I don't know, I always want to know. Right Worthy Woman. Let's see. Okay, so this is compared to The Personal Librarian and The House of Eve, based on the inspiring true story of Virginia's Black Wall Street and the indomitable Maggie Lena Walker, the daughter of a formerly enslaved woman who became the first Black woman to establish and preside over a bank in the United States. That sounds really interesting. I'm going to actually bookmark this because that sounds like a book I would like to read as well. Let me see. Yeah. Add that to my want to read list. Thank you for sharing that. Adding a new book to my my list. Read another 10 pages. Awesome. Good for you, Nadim. You are making a lot of progress today. That sounds interesting. Yeah, it does. It sounds like a really good book. So A Right Worthy Woman by Ruth P. Watson. Definitely added to the TBR. I really liked The Personal Librarian, and I have The House of Eve by Sadiqa Johnson on my bookshelf, but I haven't read it yet. But I did really like Johnson's other book, The Yellow Wife. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. How many books have you read this month? Let me take a look. I haven't been paying as much attention. I've just been kind of like going through as many as I can get to. And I just like log them into my story graph as I finish them. So I'm not sure what the total is at the moment. Let's see. Do I have everything up to date on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15. I believe I'm at 17 books for the month so far. It's been a pretty good reading month for me, actually. I got to a lot more books this month than I have in any of the other months so far this year. I think last year, I would say that I averaged around 25 books per month. But I also had the benefit at my old job of being able to listen to books on audiobook. So like I would start a book at home, I'd be reading it at home, and then like for a couple hours at work, I'd put on an audiobook and listen to parts of the book in audio. And so it helps me make a lot more progress a lot more quickly. Whereas at my current job, there are times where I can listen to like an audiobook, like if I'm dealing with like putting orders away, inventory, schedule writing, something where I'm in the back office away from the customer facing areas, I can pop in a headphone and listen to a book. But definitely not nearly as much freedom for that. So it has cut down how much I've been able to read per month for sure. And then also just earlier this year was really chaotic for me. There was like a lot going on between like I got promoted and then got moved to a bunch of different stores. I was taking care of multiple stores at one time because a couple of managers were on vacation, like a whole bunch of different stuff. And then I took this like month-long trip myself. So I feel like really this year so far, I'm way behind where I was the last 2 years. So it's kind of nice that finally in May, I've been able to settle down and really like make some progress on books. Awesome. I just finished The Reformatory and gave it a 5 stars. It was a definite 5 stars for me too. I believe it was on my top 24 books of 2024. I really, really, it sounds weird to say enjoy because it's such a dark, sad, frustrating book. And so I don't know that enjoy is the right word, but I really liked it. I thought that dude did just a fantastic job of bringing the horrors of reformatory schools to life, illustrating the racism of that time and like its effects and everything. And it's just like very hauntingly creepy. It's not like that overt horror necessarily, but it's like there's just that disquiet and that sense of ease dis-ease all the way through the story. Like even before our main character gets sent to the reformatory, it's like, you know, something is going to happen. And then like, as he gets to the reformatory, like we all know that reformatory schools are horrible. That there's not like a good context for that, but also like, it's just like that way that Dew handles that like sense of tension and that creeping disquiet and, you know, that unease as the story progresses. It was just brilliantly done. And I think for me, what made it even more remarkable is like when I got to the author's note and Dew was talking about the book being inspired by a family member and their experiences with a reformatory school. I think that was like made it even more chilling because it's, while, you know, there's poetic license in the literary treatment of the story and there's like the horror aspects that were mixed in, like the historical aspects of it are so accurate. And to know that that was based on somebody's reality just makes it all the more terrible and terrifying. I haven't actually read anything else by Dew, although I will say I have this book by St. Reeve Dew. I picked it up on a trip through Pasadena a while back. It was recommended to me. I believe this is a signed copy. Yeah, signed copy. So this is The Wishing Pool and Other Stories. This is a short story horror collection. And so I'm really excited to try this out. The Reformatory was my first time reading Dew's writing, and this came highly recommended. So I'm really looking forward to trying more of her books. I know she has like a huge, huge backlist. That is great. I have read 12 books. 12 books is awesome. Fantastic work, Nadim. I think, like, honestly, I mean, I don't know how everyone else feels, but I think in such a busy world, right? We all have families, jobs, friends, pets, households to take care of, cooking, chores, responsibilities, all of that. It's so easy to put the things that we enjoy on the very end of the list, right? Like, I know that happens to me, like, in these chaotic months where like work is out of control and I'm like struggling to find time, immediately the first thing that falls off of my list is the stuff that I like reading and making videos, which is frustrating because we really need those things to like help refill our cups, right? Like we pour out all the time with work, with family, with all the responsibilities that we have, right? And it can leave you feeling very empty and tired. And I feel like it's so important to, do things that we enjoy to like recharge. And so it's like, for me, it's a win when anyone makes any time to read, no matter if it's 1 book a month, 20 books a month, like however much you get to, like just the fact that you're carving out time to do something you enjoy. I think that's the important part of it. So happy that everybody was able to make some time this morning for us to get together. I really am enjoying these reading sprints. I'm so glad that this time frame seems to be working pretty well. But it's just nice, like I said this morning, it's nice to get together, have a coffee, read a book, just relax. Like for me, it's Thursdays. Sometimes Thursdays are my days off. So it's nice to like, start my day off this way, like relax, read, drink my coffee, but it's also worked really well when like I'm working on a Thursday night. I can get here Thursday morning, have some time for me, have a nice lunch, and then go to work feeling recharged because I had that time to like dedicate to something I enjoy. Me too. Correct. I think we're talking about the reformatory with those comments. Yeah. If you're watching this and you haven't read The Reformatory by Tananarive Due, I would highly recommend it. I think it does a brilliant job of mixing historical fiction and horror and literary fiction into a really well done book about just a horrific piece of American history. Highly, highly recommend. All right, so it is 10:30. Usually I run these sprints for about 2 hours. So I'm thinking probably 2 more sprints, but if everybody is still wanting to sprint after that, we could potentially run a third one. I have enough time today. I'm actually off today, so I'm not in like a huge rush. So let me get a timer set up for us, and then we can run the next sprint. I enjoyed it. Okay. So we have 15 minutes on the clock. I'll see you guys then. Hopefully everybody makes some good progress. And also, don't mind Luna snoring in the background. She's like passed out in her bed, and anytime she starts to sleep deeply, she snores. Luna.
Luna, you're snoring great. Luna. Luna.
Right. Made it to page 100 in my book. Making good progress. Let's see. Oops. Okay. How's everyone doing? So I was thinking maybe 1 to 2 more sprints. How does everybody feel like that about that? Are we in for one? Do we want to do one more after that? Let me know what you think. I'm happy to do, I'm for sure going to do one more, but I'm happy to do a second one if there's enough people that are interested in it. Let's see. I had to stop reading to take notes, lots of note taking from my reviews. That's awesome that you take notes. I wish that I was more organized about taking notes. I would love to be like one of those people that can stop in reading and like take notes on what I'm reading and how I'm feeling. Which I think sometimes actually, because I don't do that, it makes it really challenging when I have to go back and try to write reviews. And I'm also like way behind on doing written reviews on my Goodreads and Storygraph. But I'm hoping over the summer to catch up on actually a lot of my written reviews. The store that I got assigned to is a lot slower during the summer. And like even just like this last week being there, I'm like, wow, I'm going to have so much free time over here. Not free time like at work, but just like I won't have to work more than my normal 40 hours a week usually, I think. And so I'm hoping to use that really stable schedule for the summer to kind of like catch up on a lot of stuff. At least that's my plan. We'll see. You know, every time I make plans, somehow the universe laughs at it. So, okay. Second one sounds good. Okay. So 2 more. I'm also making progress on page 102. Awesome. Glad to hear that. I'm good with doing 2 more sprints. Okay, cool. So we've got a couple people willing to do 2 more sprints. So I think we can fit in a second one. It's 10:40, so we'll do another 15 minute. And then after that, we'll do one more 15 and we'll wrap up for the day. And I'm actually really happy. I mean, I knocked 1 book off the list. I'm here for more sprints. Perfect. I think we're all on the same page then. I think with 2 more sprints, I could probably get a big chunk of this done as well. I've already read 40 pages in this book in 2 sprints. So if I do 2 more, I should realistically be a little more than halfway through this book. So I'm happy with that idea. All right, so I will get this next 15-minute sprint queued up. Luna is like, can you guys see her over there? She's like knocked out. The tough life of a dog. She went on, like I was saying this morning, she went on this big hike last night with Oz. They went up to the mountains. So I am an administrator of a large hiking group in Las Vegas. And so we host group hikes throughout the week. And so one of our other administrators ran a hike last night up at Mount Charleston. I unfortunately had to work, but Oz took Luna up there and she just had a blast. She loves people. So anytime there's like a group of people, she just wants to be friends with everybody. And like she got so much attention. There was a kid that was playing with her and like walking her around and stuff. And so today she's just like clearly exhausted from all that excitement. And it's funny, like this morning, so we got up, there's a coffee shop about half a mile down the street from where I live. So sometimes like if Oz and I are off on the same day, we'll get up, we'll walk her over to the coffee shop and pick up our coffee and walk back. She was super charged up for her walk this morning. And I think she just like expended that last little bit of energy. Because usually like she'll pass out while I'm doing reading sprints for like 30 minutes and then she'll get up and grab her toys and want to play and she'll run around the house and do stuff. But she's been pretty consistently sleeping this whole time. So lots of excitement for a little doggy. All right. 15 minutes are on the clock. I will see you guys. Oh, sorry. Pause. How do you feel about the Persians now that you finished it? I'm so glad Luna had a fun hiking adventure. I actually liked how the Persians finished. I think the reflection on the flawed characters and how they ended up the way they were was good. I think that the book is meant to, you're not meant to like everyone in the story. I think sometimes I struggle with unlikable characters if I feel like they're unrealistic. But I think I felt like most of these characters were relatively realistic. Like I can think of people that I've met in real life that kind of fit some of the mold of these characters. And yeah, I think it was just maybe a slow start. I think it took a little while for me to get into the Persians. But I think once I hit like the halfway point, it started to get more interesting for me. And I actually really liked how it ended. I liked that it didn't necessarily lean into cliches. So not necessarily the easiest book to read, but I didn't hate it. Okay, let me get this message up and then we will restart this 15-minute sprint. All right, 15 minutes are on the clock. I will see you guys then. It's okay, baby. Shh, all done. All done. Luna, all done. Come on. All done. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know there was noise. All done. All done. All done, mamas. Go with daddy. Go on, go with daddy. Oz. Oz. You take her. Go on. Go with daddy. Go on. Go on, Luna. Go with daddy. Go on. It's okay. She can stay. She usually comes and sits out here with me during reading sprints. It's okay, babe. It's fine. It's okay, baby. It's okay. Okay. Thank you. All done. Thank you. I know somebody's making loud noise. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you for letting us know. All done. All done. There's a good girl. There's a good girl. All right. End of that. I actually made it to the end of this particular short story that I was reading, page 116. So good progress there. Sorry for the disruptions during that sprint. I'm not sure what's going on downstairs, but there's been like 2 really loud bang. I don't know if you guys can hear it on the video or not. I'm sure you probably can, at least a little bit, but it's pretty loud and it set Luna off. So she's doing what she's supposed to do and trying to protect the house from the scary noise outside. All right. Let's see what is going on. Persians has been circulating around YouTube. Yeah, I know. So it got nominated for the Women's Prize long list, and then it got shortlisted. So I think that's part of the reason it's being talked about so much. I think the other reason is it's kind of an interesting, like unique book. It's kind of subversive and a little bit edgy in its treatment of its characters. They're not very likable for the most part. And it is kind of an interesting look at Iranians in the United States versus Iranians in Iran. And some of the history of the revolution and all of that. So I found it to be a really interesting book, not always an easy book. Because the characters are unlikable. A lot of them, it's hard to empathize with them. But I kind of think that that's the point. Like often when authors write characters like that, I think it's the point is they're challenging you to find empathy for somebody that's not easy to empathize with. So yeah. Thanks, Luna's doing her job. I made it through 70%. Yeah, Luna is very good at her job. She's usually really quiet and really well behaved. But, you know, when there's noise going on or stuff like that, she's obviously going to guard the house. So she's keeping us safe from the big scary noises outside. And we won't get mad at her for doing that. You know, I always just like, oh, thank you. Thank you for letting us know. And then she'll settle back down into her bed. But yeah, I'm not sure what's going on outside. This book is really interesting so far. So this is a short story collection by Anthony Vias-Nassau. This is the only publication that he made because unfortunately he passed away shortly after this book was published. And this received all sorts of critical acclaim. So his short stories are mostly focused on Cambodian Americans in Southern California. It's interesting because, so I grew up in Southern California. The neighborhood I grew up in was predominantly Vietnamese and Filipino, although we did have some Cambodians and people from other parts of Asia in general. But heavily a immigrant community. Most of the kids I went to school with were like second-gen Americans. And so a lot of the stuff that he talks about within this book is familiar to me in that I recognize it from neighborhoods growing up and similarities. And so it's just kind of interesting to see some of that reflection of like my own childhood, my own neighborhood where I grew up, some of my friends and their families. Not everything, obviously there are certain things in here that are like very specific to Cambodian immigrant experience, but just there's a lot of things as well that are just reflective of the area that I grew up. And so it's kind of nice. It's like a little nod from home in some ways. I'm on page 100. I want to read more short stories and poetry this year. Well, I have a list of awesome short story collections. I'm actually one of my goals for the upcoming months is to start doing like recommendation videos where I do like, 10 books you should read for this or 10 books you should read for that. And so one of the videos that I had in mind was actually doing a short story collection recommendation video, because oftentimes when I talk about short story collections, I'll be like, oh, I really love this short story collection. And people are like, oh, I have a really hard time with short stories. It's not my favorite. And I just feel like there's so many great options out there. Obviously, depending on like your style preference and, subject matter preference. But I mean, I have just like, even just without really thinking that hard, like I can think of Friday Black by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah, Never Whistle at Night, which is an indigenous horror and fantasy collection. Yi Yoon Lee has several really fantastic short story collections. The one that I read, I want to say it was 1,000 Good Prayers, and it was about like Chinese culture, both in China and in the United States, and kind of how it crosses the ocean. And Carmen Maria Machado's Her Body and Other Parties, fantastic. Just so many really, really good collections. Like I said, this one's pretty interesting. I'm really excited, like I said earlier, to try this one by Tananarive Due. I've just really been into the short stories lately. It's kind of nice because, like, especially for the reading sprints, I get to read something kind of bite-sized, and then most of the time, by the time that I'm done with the sprints, I've finished a story, or within two sprints, I finished a story. And so it works really well for this particular situation as well. The book cover is interesting. Yeah, I would say this is kind of a very Southern California vibe. You have two guys sitting in the back of the truck, smoking weed and eating donuts. And I think it talks like a lot about some of the themes in the book, because the first short story within this book is about a donut shop and this family that owns it. And like the story itself talks about Khmer identity and like what it means to be Khmer or Cambodian. But it is set in a donut shop. So I like the touch that there's donuts. One of the other short stories talks a lot about like smoking weed and that experience of being high and like the thoughts. And so it kind of fits. And then, you have like the very Southern California strip mall, the wind farms in the background. Like it just, I think that this really kind of fits the stories that are within the book and the vibe. That's a great idea. Thank you. I mean, a lot of channels do it. There's a lot of great videos out there of people, recommending their books. And at this point, honestly, I've been on YouTube since 2022, 2021. I'm not sure. I have to check. I want to say it's October 2021. So we're moving into my 4th year on BookTube. I've read so many fantastic books over the 4 years that I've been here. I've been exposed to so many fantastic books. Like, I feel at this point I have enough of a repertoire to like put out some really cool recommendation videos. So I'm hoping to start doing that moving forward. So the short stories one is like one that's like heavy on my mind because I've been reading so many short story collections lately. But I have some other ones too. I actually recently started writing out a list of like my favorite memoirs. I have a really good list of recommendations for Pride Month coming up in June. So hopefully if I have the time to shoot those videos and start getting them up, I'd really like to do that. All right. So I think we all agreed on one more sprint. It is 11:07 right now. I think I'll make this last sprint a 10-minute sprint just to kind of finish it out. And then I got to get a little bit of grocery shopping done and a few things to set us up for the weekend. I think tonight we're going to go down to the pool and barbecue. I have some swordfish steaks that I'm going to marinate with like kind of a Mediterranean chimichurri almost. So it'll be like parsley and lemon and chili flakes and garlic and stuff. So we're gonna get that set up. I'm gonna make a nice caprese salad and like a lemon orzo peel off to go with it. And I think we're gonna go down to the pool and barbecue the swordfish steaks and just kind of relax in the water. And maybe I'll do a little more reading down there and relaxing. So, but I got to run to the store to get a few things before that. So we'll put 10 minutes on the clock, finish up, last little bit of progress, and then can wrap things up. 10 minutes on the clock. I will see you guys at the end of it. Okay, there's the end of that last sprint. So I made it to page 130. That is almost exactly the halfway point in this book. Very excited about that. I definitely think I can knock out another 120 pages before the end of May. So not worried. I think I will definitely finish this up over the last couple days. All right, so we're at the end of our sprinting for the day. I really appreciate everybody that stopped in to say hello. It was so nice to see so many different faces throughout the sprints. I'm really excited that Thursday has been working so well. So that being said, we're about to go into June. June is a little bit more complicated for me in terms of sprints. I have next week free on Thursday, so I will do a 9 a.m. sprint on next Thursday. And then the week after that, I have this convention for work. Thursday is the last day of the convention, but I actually have to stay on the strip. I'm not even allowed to stay at home. We're supposed to be busy like the whole entire time. So I'm not clear yet on what Thursday looks like because it is the last day. So I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get a sprint in like in the afternoon or evening time, but it will probably be a different time than usual. And then the following Thursday, I should be able to do a normal morning sprint. I will be actually in San Diego for my birthday. And so I'll just do my sprints from there. And I'm pretty sure the last week of June shouldn't be a problem either. So basically, I'll continue these Thursday sprints throughout June, and then just with that weird timing for the one in the second week of June. I want to say that'll be the 12th. So I'm gonna this afternoon set up all my live streams through the month of June. I'll continue with the weekly updates as well on Sundays. So feel free to pop in and say hello for those as well. I usually do them Sunday evening after, because I do work often on Sundays. So usually I try to schedule them for around 6 p.m., which is after work for me. So if you're around for those, please feel free to pop in and say hello. I usually just talk about what's been going on for the week, how reading is going, what I finished, what I plan to read in the upcoming week, and then like what videos I'm thinking about posting. And yeah, we'll just keep up with these reading sprints on Thursdays since this seems to work really well for everybody. I'm really, again, thank you so much to everybody who stopped in. A couple comments. Yummy. Oh yeah. The swordfish I think is going to be really good. I'm looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite types of fish to cook. I just really enjoy the texture of it. I feel like it's a really great canvas for flavors. And I'm really excited about this like marinade, and then like who doesn't love a really good caprese salad? We're going to do a nice lemon orzo to go with that. I think it'll be just a really nice summery dinner. God, that alarm surprised me. Sorry about that. I know it's very loud. I'm not the most tech savvy person, so I haven't figured out how to change the sound on the alarm. I'm on page 110. Have a great day. Awesome. I'm glad that you made some progress. Sounds really good. San Diego rules. Got to have a buddy read again before the end of the year. You pick a new release. I would be down for that. I really enjoyed our read of Mecha. And I think over the summer, I have a lot of time. I will touch base with you. Let me think about a good new release. Yeah, let me think. There's a lot of books that are on my list, and I'll think about something that would work for your style of reading too. And then, yeah, let's touch base. I think I still have a Discord set up, so I can reach out to you over Discord and see if we can get something planned for maybe July or August. Thanks for doing these sprints. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for stopping by, Cynthia. Always enjoy seeing you here. Thanks. Thank you for stopping in, Alan. It was a pleasure to have you pop in. Yes, thank you. Nadim, I know you've been here every Thursday, so thank you as well for popping in. Have some tacos at OB. Yeah, honestly, actually for tacos, I usually prefer to go down to like Logan Heights or like into that area of San Diego. Since I grew up there, I have like my favorite taco stand. But we'll probably end up at OB at some point because it's just such a fun area. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Thursday, a great weekend, and I will see you guys on Sunday for a weekly update if you're around. Or PB. We actually go to Pacific Beach a lot too. One of our family's favorite restaurants is right on the main drag in Pacific Beach. There's like a really good Spanish restaurant called Costa Brava, and we usually end up there as well. So definitely in the possibilities. All right, guys, everyone have a good Thursday, a good weekend, and pop by Sunday night if you're around for the live stream. And if not, I'll see you next week for reading sprints, hopefully.